What is up, guys? It has been a minute, but this is Stumped for Answers. We are now on episode 14. We've come a long way. I'm with my co-host Vase, and we have a very esteemed guest on our pod today, Mr. Atif Gill, returning member. He's been on a couple episodes now. Very happy to have him on. How are you, boys? Just checking in. How's everyone doing? How's life?
Life is good on this side.
If you want to go first, AG, yeah.
Thank you,
No,
Hesson. Life is good, man. Weather's getting better on the East Coast. Uh, it was cold all throughout May, but we're good. Cricket season's in full swing, right? Locally and internationally. So we're just coming off the heels of PSL, and today, big moment in history with Virat Kohli winning his first IPL. So looking forward to an exciting summer. Congratulations to, unfortunately, the Horkelanders and RCB for their championships. So, looking forward to a great summer of cricket.
yeah, I mean, I'm also doing good. I think 2 weeks ago, turned the big 30 and I had a birthday bash, had a cricket indoor, had about 9 players on each side. So, Zayd and AG, I need you guys to pull up next year, please.
Dude, honestly, that
Please
looks
pull up next
epic.
year.
I'm so mad I missed out, but it was on a weekday. I couldn't fly
No, for
in.
sure. No, of course. So,
But
I will make
next
sure to,
time,
I
yeah,
swear
if
to
it's
God,
on a
it'll be on a
weekend,
weekend. It'll
I
be on
will
a weekend.
fly in for that 100%.
All right,
Um,
perfect.
yeah, nice to see everyone's doing well. We had a very exciting week in Pakistan cricket. We've had a lot of downs recently in Pakistan cricket. The Champions Trophy, the New Zealand series after that, and everything in between, the politics. So we had some bright spots. With Pakistan cricket. So that was exciting for everybody. I think our group chat was blowing up and everyone was happy that Pakistan is winning. That's
Not
what we want at the
everybody.
end of the day.
Not everybody.
Not everybody. There is a small sliver of people that are not happy, but I'm gonna bring up the Pakistan culture change or shift, which they're going with. So they've gone out with Akib Javed as the white ball coach and brought in foreign talent, which we've seen was good in the past with Mickey Arthur, where Pakistan thrived was with a foreign coach. So Mike Hesson is in, who, if people aren't familiar with him, he is was the New Zealand ex-coach when they went to the World Cup final. He's coached in IPL. He's the current Islamabad United coach who won the title last year. So he's very familiar with Pakistan, the setup, the players. He's coached like 7 or 8 guys that are in the current team as well and played against them. So very happy to see him on. He has a YouTube channel too, which he was doing videos on before he got hired as Pakistan's coach. And he had a video saying like, this is what Pakistan cricket needs to do to like get back on its feet. So that's an interesting watch if you go back and watch it and see what he says. But what do you guys think? Is this a good ad? Is this gonna last? Because he's on a 2-year deal. So what do you guys think?
If I can go first, I think first and foremost, the main thing is he must be the coach for 2 years. We've seen it time and time again where, after 6 months, after a year, there's some rift, PCB politics at its best. Happens every time. So he must stay the full 2 years, irrespective of what happens in the Asia Cup and irrespective of what happens in the 2026 T20 World Cup. And the thing I love about this guy is his attitude is team first. And that's something that honestly has been missing since I would say 2021. And even that 2021 stint, it was just for a few months, but that's the last time the team played as a cohesive unit. And I think we saw it, in this whitewash as well, where your captain is sacrificing his batting position to move back in order to ensure the team wins. And he keeps saying team first. So I was against SAG in the beginning, to be honest, just because, just some personal things. But the past week and after hearing what you guys had to say, he gained my respect and just hearing the way he's conducting himself during the interviews, not making it about himself, not caring about his stats either. Because I was kind of trolling a bit, saying strike rate in game 3 was maybe like 100. But it's the reason it was like that was because we kind of had the game to an extent in the driver's seat. He was letting the other player kind of take the game away or take the game home. So just culture wise, I mean, I'm extremely happy now. It's just hashtag team first. So inshallah, it keeps going.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
AG, if you want to add on.
Yeah, I mean it's a great change, right? It's good to kind of slowly, move out of the Rizwan Babur era. I think the last series before we brought him on, the team didn't look too good, but we were giving chances to players. Now it just feels like all of a sudden we bring in this new coach, and he doesn't get much time with them, right? Because we're coming right off of the end of the PSL. Um, but he's had time with some of these guys being the head coach of Islamabad United. So some of those, coaching style and all that clearly is being shown with this new team, right? With Sman Ali Agha as your captain, who plays for Islamabad United. You also have Shadab, who's your vice captain, who also plays for Islamabad United. So it's a very welcoming change, very refreshing to see a team playing this well. I think the biggest thing you see now is roles are being defined, right? And I think that at all levels,
Exactly.
it's very important to let players know, like, hey, you have my support. This is your role. Go out and do it. Right? It makes the game a lot easier. Right? And I said, this is very important, even at the most basic level of cricket, where if a guy knows what he has to do and he has the backing of the coaching and the management, then it makes it a lot easier for him to perform. And that's what we've seen is, the first two games we put up big totals, and in the last game we had to go out and chase. Right? So the fear is always, you looked good the first two. What's going to happen in the third now? Right? Where it's like you got to go out and chase this total of almost 200, right? But they did it, and they did it very easily, and that really, bodes well for the future of Pakistan cricket. And like Wase said, the most important thing is we know how politics play out in Pakistan cricket, right? So we're on a very big high right now. Yes, we played a very, bad Bangladesh side. They lost a few games prior to the UAE, right? So they're definitely going through some struggles, right? But I think the biggest thing is how do you perform after some adversity? So if let's say you take a loss or you lose a series, right? How does the team perform after that, right?
Yeah.
So next up, I think Pakistan doesn't have much going on again until they play the West Indies. Actually, they play them
In
in
the next one.
yeah, they play them
Yeah, but I think
in
from
the
what I heard, AGs they might be going to Bangladesh in the middle. The dates
okay.
haven't been announced, but I think I heard in Salman Ali Agha's press conference that they're going to be making a tour of Bangladesh. I think some T20s, maybe three T20s in Bangladesh
Yeah,
before
that's
that
great.
West
I mean,
Indies
this was
series.
supposed to be five, and they reduced it to three. So if they're doing three over there, as long as it's not, they don't get burned out, right? Because I know they're
Yeah,
definitely coming here for the West Indies tour, where they'll have three games here in the U.S. and they're playing an ODI series against them down in the Caribbean. So yeah, I mean, three more games in Bangladesh would be great, right? Because you want to see how they perform. They just played, a month of PSL in Pakistan, so it's good to see what they do outside of Pakistan, right?
yeah.
Different situations, different pitches, right? So very exciting times for Pakistan cricket.
Yeah, and I'd like to add, so I've been a big advocate of Salman Ali Agha, and we've had my co-host Vase always in our group chat trolling. It's he every time Salman Ali Agha's batting, he sends a message, Agha strike rate and three fire emojis because you always troll about Babar Azam's strike rate, you know. And I've always thought that he's a team guy, even when Pakistan has been playing test matches, right? In the test team, his role was batting at number seven and batting with the tail a lot of the times. And we know he's not a number seven batsman. He can bat way higher up, and he can hold his own. So like he's very selfless about that, and getting always putting the team first instead of personal accolades. So it's very nice to see. The other thing that I wanted to talk about before we move on to the series is Mike Hesson brought over a batting coach from Islamabad United. His name is Hanif Malik. He's going to go under the radar for a lot of people that are not following Pakistan very closely, but he has been Islamabad United's batting coach for a couple of years now, and people like Salman Ali Agha, Sahibzada Farhan, Haider Ali, they've all worked with this guy, and he's definitely made them grow outside of the game as well because from what I've heard is he's been working on the players' mental strengths. You know, like how we're always talking about like mentally Pakistan's not there. They're choking under pressure. So he's been giving them some content, some books and stuff to read outside the game to get better at that aspect, get more mentally strong and believe in yourself. So that's very nice to see. I don't know if you guys want to add anything on that because we've talked about Pakistan's mental strength not being there, especially against good opposition like India, Australia, England, the big sides.
Yeah, I mean, I can add on to that. I think the most important thing, as I think AJ touched up on it, is when you face adversity, that's when your true character comes out, right?
Hmm.
Right now, you had a home series. You're playing PSL for a month and a half, 2 months on home conditions. Not too much pressure, to be honest, in these type of matches. And then, that team first approach, will you be team first when your name's in the newspaper all over the news saying that you are in a slump? Are you still going to play for the team then, or are you going to secure yourself a spot on the team, right? So
Exactly.
there's a lot of questions unanswered, but I think we can all agree that we're headed in the right direction. AG, if you want to take over.
Yeah, I, obviously mental strength plays a big part in professional sports, right? And I think it starts at the top, right, where you have guys that are encouraging, right? Like I think for years this is something that's been completely ignored in Pakistan cricket. Like there is a mental aspect of the game, right, which helps you, prepare yourself for any situation, right? So I actually see that with like there was an interview with Salman Ali Agha the other day where somebody asked him, and it was such a dumb question in this interview. They were like, "Oh, you don't follow Babar Azam on Instagram?" And
Oh
he's
yeah, I saw that.
like, Babar Azam has been my childhood friend since like grade school. Like, if I don't follow him on Instagram, who cares, right? Like, we talk all the time. Like, just whether he's in the team, not in the team, like, you have to be able. That's mental strength, right? To give the right answer because, as you know, the media in the subcontinent is not it's not easy to deal with because they ask you questions that just kind of poke at you, right? And we also saw, I know Wasa, we talked about that video that came about with Bobber where he was in the street and some fan approached him and said something and he reacted, adversely, and it kind of, it just painted Bobber in a bad light because you're a professional athlete, right? People are gonna test your mental at all times, whether you're playing the game, whether you're at home, just as just a regular person, So mentally, you have to be strong in all aspects, right? And I think it's a very big deal that Pakistan has hired a batting coach that is not only helping with the sport aspect of the game, but also behind the scenes, right? Giving these guys something to read to kind of help their mentor or to like coach them and tell them, hey, you need to be looking at this, you need to be trying that, And so off the field, you're also working, not just on the field. So I think that's huge. That's something that we've never had. So that's a
Yeah.
big, big aspect for us.
And if I
Go
can
ahead,
add
Basir.
one more thing, right? And one more
Hmm.
thing, whether it's at work, whether it's at school, whether you're an athlete, we all get anxious. Having anxiety is not abnormal. It is a normal thing. So I'm very glad that the coach is probably highlighting this, saying, hey, when you're out on the crease, when you're out on the pitch, you will feel anxiety. It's normal, but you've put in the work, you've put in the time, you know how to perform. So I'm just excited to see, with this 2025 Asia Cup coming up and the World Cup, just to see how, it all comes together. But at least we're headed again in the right direction.
Yeah, it seems like the team is headed in the right direction with Mike Hesson and under Hanif Malik as well. They're doing more, I think, data-oriented stuff, from what I've heard, and more role-oriented, like you said, AG. They're defining the roles for each player on the team. Like, hey, you're gonna do this, hey, you're gonna do that. So they have some clarity on it, right? Where they're telling like guys like Fahim Ashraf, like, hey, you don't need to score 40, 50 runs. You go in there, score 20 off 5 balls. Go hit 22 off 6, 7 balls. That's your role, right? So that's very nice to see that, like, and I think these players are gonna be given a run now for an extended period of time with Salman Ali Agha as the captain. I think it seems like he has a big role on picking the players as well, like Babar Azam did in his time as well, where he was picking his 11. So it's nice to see. Now let's go ahead and we'll cover some of the games that happened during the T20. We'll just go over some of the positives, right? So, game one, they announced the team. Fakhar Zaman and Saim Ayub are going to open. Pakistan bats first. And this is the opening pair that a lot of us have been wanting for so long, right? We've been like, please, Saim Ayub, Fakhar Zaman. They were both unhealthy during the Champions Trophy. Well, they're both healthy. They're in the team. Guess what happens? 2 balls in, Saima gets out for a duck. The next over, Fakhar Zaman is out, LBW to one of the Pacers, and Pakistan is 5-2, 5 for 2. In come Captain Cool, Salman Ali Agha, and Muhammad Haris. And before, we've always talked about when Pakistan loses guys like Babar Azam and Rizwan, the game's over, right? That's why guys like Vase and some of our friends argue that Babar Azam has to anchor, right? But we saw that Salman Ali Agha comes in, and Muhammad Haris, and they kind of take a calculated attack approach, right? Like they've taken calculated risks against the Bangladeshi bowlers in the power play, and they still rescue the team from 5 for 2, and they take the total all the way till 201. Not Salman Ali Agha and Haris, but they got a good start. I think Salman Ali Agha had 56 off 34 deliveries, which was a 164 strike rate, Vase, if you wanted to know. And Haris ended up doing a quick fire 30, and then Hassan Nawaz and Shadab Khan took him over the line for 200. So how did that feel like when we've seen in the past when Babar Azam gets out or a couple of the top order guys get out, the team collapses? Like, how did you guys feel like when they were able to build it back up?
I mean, for me personally, obviously, as a Pakistani first, no player comes above the nation. So for me, it was 5 for 2, and just seeing the batting order go from third, fourth, fifth, sixth. This is the first time where the batting's deep and nobody shit the bed. I mean, you talked about SAG striker to 164. Let me also add in the fact that he was 24 off 19 at one point, and that's something that this stat came up when who plays for the team. It's always like, oh, his first 20 runs were off 18 balls. Yeah, but he ended up scoring 65 off
Yeah,
like
but Salman
33.
Ali Agha is also not opening. He's batting at number 4. It's a difference when you're batting in the power play all the time and a being 24 off 18, 19 or 20 is
No,
different
I know.
when you're opening and when you're coming in at number 4.
No,
Don't you
I know,
think?
but yeah, no, but I mean, if the team's 5 for 2, you're coming in at our play at that point. He came in
Yeah,
the second over. But I mean, I'm just saying, right? So I mean, I don't look at that stat ever. I don't care about that stat, but that's the stat that people like to throw
yeah.
out for certain players. But for me, I mean, he was again captain freaking cool. So I mean, it was super nice to see, to be honest. AG going to take over.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're used to just seeing something like that. 5 for 2 would just collapse the entire team, right? Or Babar Rizwan comes in and they kind of go into a shell for about 10 overs, and in the last five, if they stick around, the last five they try to be aggressive, but you're just playing catch up all the time. So it was a very refreshing approach to see. Okay, Captain Cool comes in, Haris comes in. It's kind of like, all right, we can still do this, right? Let's take an aggressive approach. Let's still attack, right? Because we're still in the power play. Let's not go into a shell to say, okay, we just need to bat out these 20 overs and we'll see what happens, right? I think that approach worked in the past only because we actually had really good bowling. So there was always that mentality that, hey, if we can bat out the 20, our bowlers will be able to do their job. Right now, I think the biggest struggle for us is trying to figure out which bowlers are working and which aren't, and in which conditions.
Yeah.
I think we've been shuffling a lot. In my mind, I feel like there's guys out there that need opportunities. Like Abbas Afridi is one guy that, like, yeah, he does get hit, but he bowls Yorkers on demand. He's got a very good slow ball, right? He's a very just you need a guy like that, like a jack of all trades type of guy. Like, yeah, his pace is not anything compared to say a Nassim or a Horace or even a Shaheen, but very effective bowler. So it was a very refreshing thing to see because we could have absolutely gone into a show, and that's what we're used to, right? If Pakistan had scored 140, 150, we could say, okay, good recovery, being down 2 wickets for only 5 runs, like we scored 150. Hopefully, we
Yeah.
can defend it.
Yeah, the thing is that a lot of times we're like, in 2021, we were like, okay, Pakistan makes 150, 160. We're okay because the
Yeah, we're
bowling
gonna
was
win.
so good. Now, that day I was watching the game and a stat popped up on the screen on the broadcast. Since 2024, Pakistan is last in all T20 qualifying nations in economy. So they have had the worst economy rate, the bowlers. So the bowling is not as good as it was in that prime trio area of Shaheen, Haris, and Naseem, right? So we can't afford to score 150, 160. Before we would score 15, 20 runs behind a par score and be like, okay, our bowling has us. it's not like that anymore. We have to score 10, 20 runs above par, I think, to kind of
Makes
take
sense.
take that like away from the bowling, and add a little bit more cushion there. So I think that's what the plan is for Pakistan, and you've seen that from everybody's approach. It's like no one played more than like 35 balls, I think, in that inning. So they all had that mindset, and I think it was like a coach's like decision or captain's decision, like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go with this. Everybody play your game, play your shots. And I think the revelation has been Hassan Nawaz in the middle order. Honestly, that guy's been a beast. He's been insane. We've talked a lot of shit about him on this podcast in that New Zealand series, but man, something about that IPL. Shout out Quetta Gladiators for putting him in that middle over. That middle order because it went crazy. And I think Vase was the guy who said like,
Bro, I
"Yo,
swear to
I
God, I was
think
the
we
first
can
one.
use him."
I
Yeah,
said,
I
bro,
think you were.
just have him in the freaking have him come in fifth, sixth, whatever. Have him play a few overs, like 4 overs, because he can smack the ball. Have him play 4 or 5 overs, and he's been doing epic in the middle of the road, PSL, and even now. I think in
Hit,
one of the games he had
uh,
50 something runs with a
yeah,
strike rate of 200,
his
which I
six
haven't seen.
hitting, his six hitting ability is honestly like probably second to none right now in Pakistan. He's not only hitting the shots that we saw in the New Zealand series where just hooking everything to the leg side. He's hit some shots straight over extra, like especially against spin. I think it's his strong suit. So I think for the next 2-3 years, I want to see him in that middle order, and definitely an upgrade from guys like Iftikhar Ahmed, Asif Ali, like the guys that we were
Heather Ali.
holding on to. Yeah, Heather Ali, he didn't really get a chance in the international team, so I can't speak on that. But very nice to see. And then we'll touch on the bowling in game one. Hassan Ali, the generator with the comeback, 5 wickets. I've been the guy that's not been on Hassan Ali's side. I've always thought that he's like washed up or he can't come back to the team, but definitely with his performance in the PSL and somehow that guy as much shit that we can talk about him, he's always, I feel like, a hard worker. Like he's always playing in these leagues and trying to improve and make a comeback. So credit to him. I'll say when I'm wrong, but I feel like he plays for the team. Honestly, it seems like he's bowling hard. He's trying. So I like to see that, especially in Asian conditions. I think he's probably one of our better choices right now. What do you guys think about Hassan Ali in general?
I mean, you know what I think about him, Zid. I mean, I met Hassan Ali in 2023. Fantastic guy. I mean, I've posted that selfie with Hassan Ali about 200 times in the past 600 days. But let me make one thing clear. This is the quintessential prototype of how a player who's off the national team should be. He's not going on these GOTV shows, ARY sports shows when the team's playing a tournament and bashing the current players. What did he do? He went to the NCA, worked on his game, for the most part, kept his mouth shut. I mean, I know he's been on a few podcasts, but he's not
Yeah.
saying anything bad about the team. He put his head down, he did the work, had a fantastic PSL tournament. First match took 5 wickets, and I think the second game took two, and the third game took one or something. But this is how it should be done. You shouldn't bash your players on these sports shows. Put your head down, keep working, and if you work hard enough, you'll get back on the team as he has proven.
Yeah, AG, if you want to add
Hey,
anything.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he is a very hard worker, right? It's all substance. There's no flash in his game, right? He goes out, he works hard, he bowls well, right? He's got a great celebration. We all love it, right? But that's like the loudest you'll ever see him. No real like banter outside of off the cricket field, right? I mean, he's a hardworking guy. Does he belong there? Yeah, you can argue yes or no. I mean, definitely based on the PSL season he had, what he did in game one, like we have a big question mark when it comes to our fast bowling right now because we have all the talent in the world, but a lot of times our guys are not performing. So it's good to see a guy like Hassan Ali, who's a lot older, right, go out and still work harder than these young guys do and really perform and show them like, hey, I'm here to stay. Right now, I may not be here long because eventually, I'm sure, as Pakistan cricket goes, it's a very short leash. So he might only be around for another series or two. Hopefully, we can keep him. I think he could be very effective for us in Asia Cup, right? Which should be like the goal, like to build the right team for Asia Cup. It doesn't mean that we have to bring back Babar and Rizwan and Shaheen and Asim. You got to take the guys who are performing, right? And who can perform in those conditions. So I think it's great seeing him out there, right? He's a great personality, right? Very low key. It seems like everybody on the team likes him, which is also a great thing to see. Like, it doesn't seem like there's many factions on this team. It seems like everybody gets along. Everyone is having a great time. So I would love to see him play at least another year or so on the team. Hopefully, the 2 years. If Mike Hesson stays around, he'll keep him around. And as long as he keeps performing, I think we have a great asset in Hassan Ali.
Yeah, go
Sorry,
ahead.
is it gonna add one thing too? And I mean, I was under the same, school of thought, train of thought as AG about that age factor, right? And I was on the way to my house right now, and I was thinking about this age thing, right? And then I'm thinking, India, for example, one of the most effective fast bowlers, Muhammad Shami. I think he's
38.
30,
37, I think.
37. So I'm like, as a Pakistani, when I think of it, I'm like, okay, as soon as these guys hit 28, 29, that's when they start, that's when they're going to start declining in their game. But if they put in the work, who knows if they can extend their careers. And I'm hoping, I know AG is probably right, maybe 1 year, 2 years more personally, but hopefully he can keep this going for a few years,
Yeah,
because I think he's not that old. I
yeah,
don't know
we
his exact
definitely
age
want
yet.
him to stick around until the T20 World Cup in a perfect world, right? The
Hmm.
thing is, they picked this group of guys. Now, what we need to do is kind of get some more depth too to the team. Like we have guys like Saibzada Farhan now, who's in the team. I don't know if he's gonna make the 11 regularly. It's gonna be tight, but we have guys like that. Keep them around, groom them, so in case an injury happens, like what happened in the Champions Trophy, all hell doesn't break loose. We don't have guys that are not openers opening, guys not batting, who are not top order
Help to
guys
keep.
batting in the top order and playing guys in abnormal positions. So I think the depth is real, and we need to grow on that. And they've kind of mentioned that they're going to be working on that in these series. So that's nice to see. One thing that I wanted to kind of bring up before I touch the other games is I think Shaheen actually is gonna be in this team come Cup time. I think he deserves to be in the team over Naseem Shah. I just think that in the PSL as a whole, he showed some improvement. Shaheen did, where he was getting the ball to move both ways, which we haven't seen before. He wasn't just bowling that same in-swinger full ball to the right-handers. He was getting the ball to move away from the right-handers, which was nice to see. And Naseem Shah has been kind of his form is just taken a total hit in my opinion. In a lot of the PSL games too, he was both one good over then go for 25. One good over then in the end in the depth he would go for 20, 25 runs. So I think Shaheen will be in this team. Maybe in a series or two. I think they kind of left him out maybe for some rest purposes after that final. But you did see Shaheen after winning the PSL, right? He was kind of like not as happy because he has a point to prove, which I liked, honestly.
Yeah.
He's hungry to come back. So, uh, AG, what are your thoughts on this? Like, do you think he's gonna be back, Shaheen?
Yeah, I think there's a very high probability he'll be back, right? I think they're definitely still gonna try to shuffle these fast bowlers, try to figure out who is. I think he is, when you take your 15, 16 guys to a tournament, he is definitely part of your 11. Right now, if he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
perform, you can always shuffle him around, right? Bring somebody else in, give somebody else a chance. But he is your true frontline bowler. I would love for it to be Naseem. I think Naseem is a great asset to the team. He's got a great attitude. He works hard, right? He plays well. He can bat a little bit too, and that's also a big aspect I think that gets ignored about Hassan Ali's game. Is over the last several years when we've seen him play PSL and other domestic tournaments, he can bat a little bit, right? And
Yes,
it is an all rounders game, right?
it is.
You need, if your top or middle order struggles, you should have guys that can bat at 6, 7, 8 who are just not specialty bowlers, right? Who can
Mm-hmm.
actually go out and carry their bat, score some runs, get your team, a couple, even if it's 15, 20 extra runs, those 15, 20 runs play a huge part, right? And I know Shaheen, the joke is he fashions himself as a true all rounder, and sometimes I think there was a final against Multan a couple years ago where he brought himself in at like
Number
four,
four.
number
Yeah.
four, right? Which everyone was like, this is absurd, right? And I think is what it is this whole experience is humbling him a little bit, right? Even though he just won PSL, I think everything that's going on in Pakistan cricket these days might be humbling him a little bit, which is what he needs, right? I think once he became captain, and then his father-in-law was in his ear a little bit, and things got a little out of control with that guy. I think he just needs to go back to being that young guy who just can swing the ball and blows you away with the pace. I think that's what we're lacking right now. Is We were talking about this, and in my head, I'm thinking, man, there's one guy I would love to have for Asia Cup, and it's Amir, right? And I watched him all PSL. You need to have one bowler who just comes in and has attitude and just bowls with pace and just is attacking the batsman with every single ball. And that's really what we're lacking right now. And we had it with Shaheen for a while, and he, ever since his injury and some say the marriage and his father-in-law just yapping in his ear all the time, I feel like he's lost that edge. But you need one guy that just has a little bit
Ye
of an edge.
Go ahead, Vase. I know we've been talking about Muhammad Amir, so go ahead. But I just don't think that the team vibes with him anymore. He's been very outspoken about a couple things, so I just don't think bringing him back. I love him. Like he's my one of my favorite Pakistani bowlers. But Vase, what do you think? I don't think the team will vibe with him.
And that guy is so smart.
He
I
is.
think I think that's what separates him from these young cats. He watches film, he studies the game, he knows every batsman he is bowling to.
He
He
does.
got, I mean, I don't want to mention his name, but
He's
in
not a
two of the
batsman. The guy you're going to
matches,
mention is not a batsman. Don't say his name.
yeah, I'm not saying his name, but he got him out twice, and he knew exactly where to bowl. He knew his weakness, so he studies these players. He puts in the work. Now, for me personally, his only downfall per se. I mean, I love Amr. I genuinely, I've loved him since the first time I laid my eyes on him. No, since like 2015. Just I don't know. He's just a very smart, clever bowler, and that's something that's lacking with all these younger guys. Whether it's Shaheen, whether it's Naseem, whether it's Haris, you want to add Abbas Afridi or any of these bowlers, they're not clever. Muhammad Amr is clever, and that's something that's always lacking.
Yeah, but I think now that Shaheen's been playing for now almost 7, 8 years now, 6, 7 years.
8 years, yeah.
Yeah. So like he needs to pick that up, like, right? Like Amir wasn't always clever. He's been clever, but now I think he's taken it to another level where he's just
With
outthinking
age
his
too,
opponents. But I know a lot of us I remember this in the 2009 T20 World Cup against Dilshan. He set him up for that in that one the first over that he bowled, and I think that was one of the greatest T20 overs in history that he bowled to Dilshan. The pace, thinking, he just outdunked Dilshan, who was like the player of the tournament at that time. So like he's always had that ability, and I think that's what Pakistani bowlers need to kind of learn from him and watch more film. Like you made a great point. He knows what all the batsmen like to do. Like what he did to Babar Azam was he just outthunk him, honestly. So like he outfoxed him, and I brought it up, so I had to. But that we talked about a little bit about the bowling. One other thing that I wanted to bring up was game one, game two, game three, all different scenarios. First two games Pakistan batted first. Third game they chased. But one thing that I loved was the balance within the batsmen throughout all three games. We weren't overly dependent on one person. It was a whole team effort. Like game one, Agha scored, Shadab scored, Hassan Nawaz scored. Game two, Fakhr Zaman gets injured, Saibzada Farhan scores a 70. Hassan Nawaz scores again. So and then game three, Muhammad Haris scores 100, the second fastest by a Pakistani, uh, which is very interesting. Another stat about that century was he's the first non-opener in Pakistan to score a T20 century. So shout out Muhammad Haris, but I really like the balance that the team displayed within the three games. Go ahead, guys.
Oh, can I just add one thing about Harris's century? Correct me if I'm wrong, but the stat was he only played four dot balls the entire innings. Four.
Uh, I, That's a
Is it?
great stat. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's true or
Yeah, I
not,
think
but
it's
it
like
probably
four
is.
is insane. Four
Yeah,
for a
4 is
century, only
insane.
playing four dot balls, so that just shows the intent. And one thing, honestly, you guys brought up a great point, and I hate to admit it, but nobody's eating up too many balls. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's like nobody's eating balls up. Nobody's
Yeah,
playing tuk tuk. They're
when
saying, okay,
Harris
maybe, yeah. Go ahead,
no,
please
no,
go
go
on.
ahead. When Harris scored his century, his strike rate was 224. I know we love to bring up strike rates, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, 224. So this whole strike rate that you guys love to bring up, I mean, I'm starting to become, I look at that now. I'm starting to open up my eyes, right? Thinking like, okay, how many bars are you gonna hit? If you're not gonna hit, or if it's not your day, goddamn play a stupid shot, let the other guy go in and smack it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so you're right, dude. It's like every single game there was a new batsman. Whoever came in was cool, calm, collective. They didn't eat up too many balls, didn't play too many dot balls. I remember during the Champions Trophy, I know it's two different formats, but AG kept iterating the fact that, dude, you're playing too many dot balls for certain players. And at that time, I was like, oh no, what's he saying, But now it's all coming to fruition. It's a new era, baby. And man, host this thing up, man. Host it up. Come on. Host
Yeah,
up the
no.
trophy. Come on, man. Shoot.
The thing is, the attitude I feel like has changed, right? Even the guys like Hassan Nawaz, Muhammad Haris, they're running twos, they're running quick singles. They're not just hitting the ball straight to the fielders, and we've seen that with guys like Rizvan before when he's opening the innings, right? Like if you're not able to hit boundaries, that's okay, but don't eat up balls. That's a killer. Getting in T20s, a dot ball is like two or three dot balls is almost equivalent to a wicket. So you cannot eat up balls. That is the thing. And I think in these three games they really did a good job of rotating strike and hitting boundaries. So I'm very happy with how that went. AG, if you wanted to add anything.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing and what I noticed is goes back to the coaching, right? I feel like they're really studying the other team, which it feels like we've never done that, right? We can barely study the pitch that we're about to play on, right? There's been so many times where we've said, "Oh, the pitch didn't perform how we expected it to." Well, it did for the other team. Why didn't it for you? So I think what you're seeing is what you said earlier was like an analytics driven, coaching strategy where it's like, let's steal a run here or there, right? Because again, that can demoralize the other team, right? And what you're seeing for the first time in a very long time is really partnerships, right? We're so used to seeing the Riz Bar partnerships, we're used to seeing four dot balls in an over. This guy's playing four dot balls in a century inning stand, so partnerships are huge, right? So if one guy is seeing the ball well, even if the other guy is struggling a little bit, right? I think they're being coached up to say, okay, figure out what's going on out there. Talk up your teammate, right? Let's get on the same page so that we can score from both ends, right? So not one end is not bogged down, right? We're scoring from both sides, right? Put away the bad balls, right? Score some runs, turn the singles into doubles, right? Put the pressure on the other team because you put the pressure over there, the bad balls will come, right? The boundaries will come, and we'll put up a good total. For the longest time, we were satisfied living in a 150, 160 world while the rest of all the other nations were playing 200 cricket, right? Now we're playing 200 cricket. So now it's like we need to be consistent. We need to score 200, 180 to 200 to kind of be in every single game, and we know that, right? And eventually, if this keeps rolling, maybe we can be one of those nations to start scoring 200 plus every game, right? Where it's like, even if our bowling is bad, if we put up enough runs on the board, hell, we can beat anybody. So I think this is great. I mean, it clearly seems like the coaching is working and all the players are kind of looking at the game a little different.
Yeah, it's nice to see. And another thing that I think we're seeing is they're going heavy on the all-rounders, right? They're going with three specialist bowlers, and then they're going heavy on the all-rounders. You have guys like Agha who can bowl, you have Shadab, you have Saim Ayub, you have Kushdil Shah, you have like almost 7, 8 options, and we saw in every game he used 7, 8 different bowling options, which was nice to see. They have that depth to utilize. Like Saim Ayub can be very tricky to play sometimes on some of these spinning wickets if we go to Asia. And Aga is a good bowler, and Kushdil has bowled decently well in PSL, and he's a left arm spinner that you have. So you're kind of covering a lot of aspects with those all rounders. So it's nice to see. Then you have Fahim Ashraf, who I forgot to mention, who's a pace bowling all rounder, who's been decent as well. Go ahead, Basi.
Oh yeah, just one. You brought up a great point because I saw that stat earlier as well. I think in the first game, the SAG played 8 bowlers. Second game, I think it was 8 again. Third game, 7. And within those 3 games, there was only one bowler who bowled all 4 overs. So just seeing his strategy, his mind towards it, honestly, I am extremely impressed. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember the last time we've played 8 bowlers in a T20. Usually it's always been like we're gonna have 4 do 4. You
Yeah,
have here 3, 4 players, they're gonna do all 4, and then we're gonna see who we can.
yeah.
But
With
just
I
seeing only
think with
one guy doing 4, is extremely nice to see.
Yeah, under Rizbar, I think it was more like, okay, these are the bowlers. They're gonna bowl their full quota no matter what. Like Shaheen's going for 13 runs and over, doesn't matter. We're gonna still give him the last over. And here, I felt like, oh, like I think it was in the second or third game, Hottest Rof was getting smacked around, and he only bowled 2 overs. He gave uh 2 of his overs to somebody else. So that was nice to see. Like just because you're in the team to bowl doesn't mean you're gonna get all 4 of your overs if you're getting hit around the park. So that was nice to see. Um, I think that was all the positives that I had from this series. I don't know if anyone has any negatives. We have talked a lot of positivity in this podcast, but are there any negatives that could happen that we can see in the future? Say if we lose a series or two here, are the boys going to be under fire? Like, is Salman Ali Agha going to be under fire here if we lose the West Indies series or something like that?
I don't think that we. I think right now it's just preparation for Asia Cup, right? So
Okay.
I think the leash is a little long. I think everyone's kind of waiting to see what happens when Pakistan actually plays outside of Pakistan. So that's
Hmm.
big. So if the Bangladesh series happens, then they come to the U.S. So I think it's very crucial to see how they react in different conditions. Also, like I said, we know that our pace bowlers are struggling. I would love for him to have other guys available, like just if whatever wherever we go, like say a tour, let's bring in, you know, why not throw Amir in there? Why not throw Sufyan Mukim? So everyone's been raving about this kid, and he hasn't been getting the shot because they've been, their one real spin bowler has been Abrar, who I am a huge fan of, and I have a very close friend who hates this guy and always talks about Sufyan Mukim, and I was like, look, if the kid was good enough, they would have played him, right? And he is
No,
good.
but Sufyan Mukim was probably the best spinner in that New Zealand
In the New Zealand
series.
series,
Absolutely,
yeah, I
He
think
was definitely the best spinner, and I think he should have been in the 15 at least.
correct.
Because if you're gonna play in Asia Cup and the T20 World Cup, for us, they're both gonna be in Sri Lanka, I'm pretty sure. So that's spin heavy conditions. So I think we have to kind of read those conditions and play him maybe as a specialist, a spinner, or maybe we're gonna go heavy on the all rounders and
I
have
think
those
that's what
guys
it is
both
I think the
spinners.
mentality has changed to an all-rounder mentality, which the world has already been doing, and we're
doing.
Hmm.
Yep.
adopting it now several years later. And it's like if you bring on these two spinners who can't really bat at all, right? You're eating up a roster spot for maybe a specialist batsman that could come in, into that spot, and we
Yeah.
could use him maybe in a crucial situation.
Yeah, that's a good point, but I think like the left arm unorthodox spinner is really
Crucial.
crucial. Like we've seen guys like Kuldeep and for India who's made crazy match winning performances,
Mhm.
especially against Pakistan and in the Champions Trophy he was very good. So maybe he's not in the T20 format, but maybe for the one days or something they should try to maybe bring him in, give him a couple chances and see how he develops. Because I think it's a very unorthodox skill that he has. Like you don't see those every day. So I think we should kind of invest in him. And it was weird that he didn't play at all in the PSL. He was on Zulmi, so I don't know what happened.
I think he
That it's
struggled
like
early on, and then they, you
kind
know,
of just went away from him,
I
which
mean,
was weird.
think about who your captain is on Zelmi, so I'm not surprised by that decision. Because that guy definitely has his favorites. So, I mean, it's
Yeah,
unfortunate,
I
but
don't know what happened there. Like yeah, he played 1 or 2 games, but come on. I
That's
mean, like,
that's that's what I'm saying is you got to be able to back, like, if you know that you have a talent like that and this is your country's premier cricket setup, you got to be able to back a guy like that and say, you know what, even if you're struggling, figure it out, right? You're a young kid, even if you're getting hit, figure it out, right? And I think that's what makes good teams good and bad teams bad is like, even if you go through the struggle, you gotta, these guys have to face adversity, right? Especially these young guys, because if he struggles and you sideline him, that could really be the end of his career, right? You may never hear this kid's name again, even on a domestic side, right? So you have to back kids with this much talent. Like, for him to play only a few games, being one of the best spin bowlers in Pakistan, is inexcusable. I
yeah,
blame
it
it
doesn't make
entirely
sense.
on the management, the captaincy. We're not going to talk about that guy.
One last thing I'll bring up, and Vase, this is directed towards you because you've made a lot of claims about this guy, and I think he is up and coming, probably the next star for Pakistan. Ali Raza, should he be anywhere in this in this uh in this squad? I mean, maybe call him up for the Bangladesh series just to see what he can do at an international level. I'd actually like to see that because what AG mentioned is we're lacking someone with aggression and pace. That guy is by far probably the fastest bowler in Pakistan right now. So Vase, take it away.
People love to talk about Naseem Shah. And where was Naseem Shah's breakthrough? Happened at the Asia Cup, right? If you guys recall, I think Shaheen was injured and Naseem came in, I think it was 2022 Asia Cup, if I'm not mistaken, and he just stole the goddamn show. Pace, swing, aggression, he had all three. I'm saying give this guy a shot, even if not in the playing 11, let him be in the 15-man roster so he can experience what it's like. He's never been on an international team before. He's never been to an international tour either, you know? So if he can make that 15 man, at least when they come to the US and the Indies, I think that would be great. And maybe if he can play a game or two over there and then hopefully the Asia Cup, because, dude, that kid has some serious talent, has pace. As they say, pace is pace. Easily clicking 145 plus every time. And I feel like, the smartness of a bowler, that cleverness comes with experience. So, I mean, I'm hoping he does get his shot the next series, and hopefully he can make his name during the Asia Cup, man. So, then we
Yeah,
can
I
see.
think bring him in the camp and at least groom him, develop him, and start that because I mean we had guys like Muhammad Amir come in when they were 17, 18, and his career exploded at that point. So as Pakistanis say, pace is pace, yaar, and I think he's got something that you can't teach. Pace is something that like you naturally have it or you don't. And I think right now that's the one thing that Pakistan's lacking. Um but yeah, I think we've covered everything, guys, and it's been a great episode. I think we're all excited with this new Pakistan culture shift and the change. Let's just hope that it keeps going. No politics get involved. Give the boys a chance, win or lose. Salman Ali Agha said like he doesn't care about the results. He cares about how the team is playing, like in a positive way, a positive notion. So, I mean, obviously results matter. I think that statement is kind of fabricated, but you have to you have to provide some results. You can't just lose every game. But I think with this current squad, with the coaching, I think Pakistan has a bright future if they keep at it, right? Keep improving, keep growing, keep learning, and I think we'll have some positive results in the Asia Cup. I can't get worse from what we had before, so I think the outlook on the horizon is positive. What we went through the last 2 years, I think with the 23 World Cup, the T20 World Cup of 24, the Champions Trophy, it's been demoralizing for a Pakistan fan for all three of us and all of Pakistan. So I think we can just hope for a positive outcome in these upcoming series and keep growing and let's take a couple of these international tournaments home. So I appreciate you guys as always for coming on. Vase, my co-host, and AG, our esteemed guest, legend of the DMV area. Thank you guys.
Can I add one thing?
Peace.
Oh, let
Yeah,
me
yeah,
add
go
one
ahead.
thing. Since we're on the platform, AG, it is our humble request, at least mine. We need you on more podcasts, man. So I
Yes.
know you get super busy, whatnot, but we do love your insight and just everything you bring. So please, man,
Yeah, I would
we'd
love
love to have
to.
you on more.
Just yeah, I get a lot. Honestly, I get a lot of hate from the DMV area because I have a lot of fans that hate me. So they're like,
Oh
oh,
man.
this guy's on a podcast. And here's the thing that I tell them. I'm like, look at Mike Hesson. Never played any international cricket, nothing. Probably one of the best coaches in the world, right? And I've been following this
Yes,
guy
sir.
since he first started coaching because I'm a huge, deep down inside, besides Pakistan, I'm a huge New Zealand fan, right?
Yeah.
I
I
love the
think they're
way
the
no,
probably the most likable team
yeah, they just
yeah,
play a
out there.
good brand of cricket, right? They come in, they work hard, they play well. They're always around in the World Cups and whatnot, and they've gotten unlucky a few times. So this guy, New Zealand head coach for several years, brought them to prominence. RCB head coach, it didn't work out there, but they were always in the running, right? Just never could cross the line. Islamabad United, they've won what? They're tied with Lahore right now for the most titles.
Yeah, three titles,
Three,
yeah.
yeah, and also hurts me to hear that Shaheen's the most successful PSO captain. Jesus Christ, he's so bad. Um, so to have a guy like Mike Hesson as your head coach with like no international experience, right? This is what I tell all my haters too. I'm like, yo, listen, I don't need to be playing cricket every Saturday to
No, no.
understand the game.
Facts.
AG, your analysis is always valid, and,
Thank
and
you,
we'd
I
love to
appreciate
have
it.
you on. And we'll have you on again when we do
Sure,
another one. I think we have some probably a little break, but we'll definitely have a couple more episodes when Pakistan gets to playing some cricket. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. Uh thank you again. And as always, Pakistan's in the butt.
Thanks,
Thank
son.
you guys.
Take care.
Peace.